Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms, we're going to go over a bunch of data that the makers of the game shared about how popular the game is, where people play the game, the people that have the most kill points, the most dead troops, and more. And presenting all this information is me, alongside Gorgo, with the thickest eyebrows you've ever seen. So let's get started, shall we? GG's. So the number of players that joined this year, 16,058,760. It's funny because people say, oh, Rise of Kingdoms is a dead game. Is it though? Pfft. When people say that, it's usually like they personally are ready to go do something else with their life, because 16 million new governors is a lot of new governors. Now, this says governors, which, by the way, I would assume to mean that's individual cities, aka governor IDs. This is not the same as total number of accounts, because one account could have many governor IDs. So presumably one person could have multiple numbers of governor profiles, but also you could have multiple accounts too. So like, I don't think 16 million is the true number of like new humans that started playing the game. But even if you cut this number in half and said 8 million new people are playing the game, that's still like a lot of people. That assumes 2 cities per player. What would you assume is reasonable if everybody has a man and a farm, which not everybody will do? Maybe it averages out. A lot of people will just try the game and, you know, log in a few times and never play again. They probably count as well. So I think anywhere between like 8-9 million new humans playing the game is honestly pretty good over the course of a year. Am I wrong here? 199,604,737 governors in total over all the years. Now that's kind of interesting. Usually when a game launches, you'll see sort of like a spike of new players and then sort of a dip over time. So I would assume we're in that like dip over time window with the 16 million new governor profiles, because if you divide this number by 6, which is the number of years that the game has been out, you'd be looking at 33 million new, 33-ish million new governors per year. So, yeah, I mean, this number though, this is crazy. That's a big number. All right. GG. 305 new kingdoms this year. That's also kind of exciting. That's almost a new kingdom a day. And, you know, you may think, what is there to talk about with this number, Chisgule? Why does this matter? Well, this is a signal to the velocity of players joining the game, like the frequency with which new players join. And the developer saying, okay, we have enough players in this kingdom, time to make a new one. Because often with games, you'll see that the frequency of new kingdoms is every 3 days, every 5 days, every 2 weeks, they'll launch a new kingdom, right? So almost every day, there's a new kingdom. And I think that is a healthy showing for the state of the game, quite frankly. Almost 900,000 new alliances, bro. GG. I don't know how much I would say about this number per se. Like, you could take the 300. I mean, here's the thing: is new alliances get created even in kingdoms that are long established. But if you said all of these alliances were created in the new kingdoms, which like they weren't, oh yeah, there's no way, because that would be wait, that would be 2,000, almost 3,000 alliances per kingdom. All right, so this a lot of these alliances are in existing kingdoms. Sheesh. Okay, onward. Here is where the players are located, and this is so interesting. I did not expect to see that the United States would be the country with the most players. I don't know why I didn't expect to see that. I just think the world's a big place, you know? But 18.8 million players from the US. Now, I think this is maybe this is active players this year. I don't know if this is players that joined this year. It couldn't be, because like, yeah, this is the US actually has a lot of players. This is sort of surprising to me, but also Vietnam. Holy smokes, 15.4 million players. Brazil, 10.5. Russia, almost 10 million, 9.69. And Turkey, 7.8. So it's very interesting, in my opinion, to see which countries are the most popular here. And we go on to see Indonesia at 7.6, Germany 5.5, South Korea with almost 5, Mexico 4.7, and the Philippines with 4.2. This was captured as of August 31st, 2024. Really interesting to see what kind of where the players are in the world. I find this very fascinating. And if we continue on, the country with the fewest players, I don't know. This is an interesting one. I don't even know what these countries are. I suppose we could go on a little expedition, but I'll do this instead. Leave a comment. What are these countries? Where are they? What are they about? All right, onward. The number of governors that migrated, 900,000 almost. It's 896,233. If you assume that on average the passport cost is 25, let's just say, okay? Let's just say it's 25 passports per migration on average. You would be looking at how many passports here? 22,405,825 passports. If you multiply by 5, which okay, not everybody's buying their passports for money. But you would be looking at, there's just no way. There's just no way. $112 million worth of passports. Hey, yo. I like that all these generic Rise of Kingdoms bros, which are clearly copies of each other, are all walking toward this desert portal. I wonder what happens when they realize when they step through and the other side is just the sand that's on the other side. Where are you going? But this is just a very interesting statistic. A lot of people are moving around from place to place, and I think that should be the case. The whole idea behind migration is just such a weird one, okay? I do think that you should be able to play with who you want to play with. What the heck are we talking about? But I also think some element of friction to migration is a good thing, because if you can just abandon your team whenever the heck you want, that actually creates a bad team dynamic. There is some element of good team dynamic associated with, this is your team. You chose this. Here you are now, right? You don't want people to just be able to just bounce. Be like, oh, going got tough. Peace, sucker. I don't know. There's a balance here. Your thoughts in the comments for how well struck that balance is. That's a lot of migrations, though. Cities burned. 5.8 million cities burned. I don't know if this is different cities or if you burn a city over and over, it counts. Because think about this, okay? Just looting one player that's got many billions of resources could easily represent 1,000 or more cities burned. Do you see what I mean? So let's just assume this is different cities that have been burned, okay? Let's make some data-based assumptions here. What do you think the chances are that somebody quits the game if their city gets burned? Actually asking. I would guess there's a 50% chance, let's say. So you're looking at almost 3 million people, potentially, who would have quit because their city got burned? Actually asking. I don't know. Some number of people quit when they get zeroed, okay? What do you think is the percentage of those people that quit? Even if it's 1/6, you're still talking about 1 million people that quit. Now, granted, this is cities burned, and a player might have multiple cities. All of them might have been burned. Multiple of them might have been burned. I don't know. This number is just massive, though. You know what I really would want to see associated with this number is the total number of resources plundered in a year. That would be so interesting to see the resources plundered, bro. I know you can see stuff like that maybe at an individual level, but at a global level, it'd be such an interesting number. So 3 players hit the 2 billion power mark this year. I covered Ekramabi in a live stream where that happened. I'll have a card in the end screen for that, but Ekramabi, highest player by power. This is probably a very intentional number. 2 billion and 69 million and 31 at the tail end. Wow. I mean, that is just a jaw-dropping amount of power. It's hard to lose that much power in a KvK. Mr. Hope, also over 2 billion. and then also Wild Lion over 2 billion. Absolutely insane. Quite a milestone. Will anyone ever get to 3 billion? Not that I'm challenging people to get there, but like actually asking. Do you think that's a thing? That is so much power. This is an astronomical amount of power. All right. So the top 10 strongest players currently, I guess this is like the peak power, maybe is what that was. But currently, you've got Ekramabi at 1.86, Wild Lion at 1.73, Mr. Hope at 1.73. You've got Maverick at 1.4, and I don't know if Maverick still plays. I'm actually asking. Baba is obviously still playing at 1.14. For those of you that know, I've met Baba at Community Meetup. It was really awesome. That was actually hosted by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And 10 out of 10. If you have an opportunity to go to one of those, they are really, really cool. Flower of Mimi and Perfume of Mimi are just under 1 million here, both at 9.7, not 9.7, GG, 970 million almost, and 961 million. It's crazy. And then Yoda, who, by the way, also does not play anymore. I don't think the account is active. He had major health stuff. He was in our group, super chill dude, 865 million, a lot of power on that account. And it is what it is. And BT Cyborg at 710 million. So dude has got a lot of power. And Boom Boom, we battled in KvK against him long ago, 666 million, probably an intentional number, but who knows there, all right? Now, this is where things get really spicy. The players with the most tier 5 kill points. You've got Osno at 79 billion kill points. Insane. He is in 1960 now. Peacemaker at 72 billion. No longer plays the game, as I understand, but dude just pulled down a lot of KP. Ahmad Aziz, old school dude, man. Been around for a long time, 70.2. And Baba, right up there at that 70 billion number. And I'll just call out that Baba has said in the past that, like, people make fun of him for being a big personality, and he may not have the most power, he may not have the most deads, but he's got a lot of deads, he's got a lot of KP, he's got a lot of power, and few people are as consistent in their execution from KvK to KvK to KvK. Yeah. Dude, crazy. Arvix it's funny, he's GT Arvix is the name, but he's in 489. 68 billion kill points. Crazy. Huge numbers here. And then some of these names I can't pronounce, but you may remember Clubman, who's currently in 1188, 61 billion. You got Cat just above him in 2489. And then like Luna in 1777 and 1316, Kiss. These are folks I don't know that I know. I think I know Luna maybe, but just absolutely huge KP numbers. My numbers, I can't remember, somewhere between 22 and 26 billion. I actually don't remember. I kind of don't care. Like, I don't know. At a personal level, like, yeah, it's not a leaderboard I'm trying to push. and like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't compete with that. On the topic of things I couldn't compete with, even if I wanted to, here is the most total T5 dead troops. I love, by the way, that for this data, they're just going with the T5s. And Makote, number 1, 419 million. So that's for almost 420. Okay. Wow. Oh my God. That's like 4.2 billion power worth of dead troops. That is crazy. Fluffy Pony in my group in 2293. We had a great migration in 2293, by the way. It wasn't huge, but we didn't need a huge migration, and we're trying to stay out of Imperium, looking to sort of be an A kingdom in 2293, which I think is appropriate for 2293's level of aggressiveness toward certain like Imperium requirements. All right, like, all the stuff you got to do to keep your power low and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is a great spot for 2293 to be. It continues to be in a great spot for its players and for the meta. 375 million dead troops for Fluffy. It's crazy. Yoda, 361. So Yoda has not lost troops for like 3 KvKs, and he's still number 3 on this list for perspective. So if Yoda had continued at Yoda's pace, he'd probably be number 1, which is crazy. Arvix, number 4 with 343. Baba, number 5 with 318. So Baba's got almost 3.2 billion power worth of dead T5s. Thor in 1411. That's a huge number. Wow, 301. Ba, who you've seen on my channel before, 300 mil. Really impressive. I don't know who this is. In 1698, 281. That's insane. Also, this player in 2666, 266 million dead T5s. And then Cat again. That's wild, man. These numbers are absolutely insane. There were 494 KvKs in this last year, which, I mean, you've got about 50% more KvKs as we had new kingdoms. That feels like a low number, but I guess, you know, lots of kingdoms go into a KvK together is what's kind of going on there. But I could not believe the most popular is Heroic Anthem. This to me is jaw-dropping. Also jaw-dropping that Desert Conquest and Strife of the 8 were on the same page. Ain't no way that this is Strife of the 8 number 2 and Desert Conquest number 3, right? Ain't no way, bro. But Heroic Anthem was the most popular format, which I find somewhat surprising, but like, you know, it's kind of an oldie but goodie, especially now that there's no fog in there. The most commonly used commanders. Of course, Nevsky's number 1 and Skippy's number 2. I think that is really obvious because they've been out for a long time. So you had, like, a lot of people have them in a really great spot. Joan is number 3, then Liu Che, then Zhuge Liang. If I were ordering these commanders in terms of their power level in this day and age, I would put Liu Che as number 1, Zhuge Liang as number 2, followed probably by Skippy and Nevsky close together. And Joan is an interesting one. Joan is such a powerful commander in part because, like, you don't need to max her. And she's great. Like, if you could get 5-1-1-5, you're most of the way to full power. That's not really true, but like, it's shockingly close to true with her level of punch. And her expertise is not insane. So I think this is a very good list. And by the way, this matches my tier list for best investments very closely. So GG, unsurprising. And from here, players with the most kill points in a single KvK. What is most insane is that Peacemaker makes this list twice. So 2 times in the last year, he is in the top 5 for KP in a single KvK. 13.5 billion and then 11 billion. Addy, that's 11.3 billion. Then you've got Mr. Go and another player from 1960 at over 10 billion kill points. Those are just truly impressive numbers for single KvKs. Like, you take the number of kill points that most people might aspirationally go for in a KvK, which is 1 billion, and you add a 0 to it. Okay. Right? Like, now the players with the most T5 deaths in a single KvK, this is really interesting because Yoda holds the record. And I think this might be in the last year because I thought Makote would have been on this list. So this might just be in the last year. I'm not sure. But I've got to say that Yoda, I think, holds the all-time world record, I think, at least in the international servers, for the most deaths in a single KvK. 77 million dead T5s, GG. Followed by Addy, and then Yoda again. By the way, Yoda twice on the list. So, like, Yoda shows up to KvK, kills the majority of his troops. Crazy. Then Fluffy. You can see why it was crazy having Fluffy and Yoda in the same alliance, right? Like, good times. They were good times. They were shortly lived, though. And then over here, player from 1960, 55 million. Very, very impressive stuff. All right. Then the top 5 kingdoms with the highest kill points in a single KvK. So this I find really fascinating. This really points to the size of 1093. 508 million. No, billion. No, wait, trillion? Oh my God. I can't even keep up. 508 billion. 508 trillion would be crazy. There's too many zeros. Too many commas. It's the Trace Comas Club over here. All right. GG. So 508 for 93. They show up on the list twice. 1960s on the list twice, and 1365 on the list. Just the sort of power and size of these kingdoms is at a scale that I think most people do not appreciate. The top 5 players with the highest kill point increase over the last year. So even though Peacemaker wasn't the highest for KP, he had the highest KP increase by about 2 billion, followed by Osno. BT Cyborg, honestly, this was a big year for him. He was absolutely cooking this year. I don't know what changed, but the dude just went absolutely Super Saiyan. And 1960 player over here, and then 2377. Genie, okay, on the list here with 25 billion kill points. Just, these are the kinds of players you want in your kingdom. The most commonly used commander on the battlefield is Liu Chat. So this, I kind of would have expected. The most used commander on the battlefield. I wonder how this differentiates, by the way, from the most used commanders in Season of Conquest. I don't know why Nevsky would be number 1 over there versus Liu Chat over here. I guess I don't know what the difference is, but whatever. And then the social media presence. So this I find kind of fascinating. There's over 1 million Facebook followers, 641,000 on Insta, only 248,000 on YouTube. I just find that so fascinating. And only 200,000 in Discord. I kind of expected these numbers would be bigger, to be honest. And the communities continue to grow. But like, when you see that there's 200 million people that have played Rise of Kingdoms, but only 250,000 follow on YouTube, there's a disconnect for me here that I'm not following, right? I find that just baffling to me that more people aren't more involved in the socials. But I realize, like, you and I, you watching this video and me making this video, are just in a completely different demographic of activity level, right? We think about games differently, right? You're here to learn and grow. Me too, right? It's wild, man. And there were gem giveaways over the course of the year. 5.5 million gems, bro. Woo! Yo, I don't know if this includes the Lucerne, not Lucerne Scrolls. What is it? The like quiz game show? But I don't know. 5.5 million gems is a lot of gems. By the way, a shout out to the content creators, which I really appreciated. There's a official creator portal. I've covered that in a prior sponsored video. And over 7,237 videos have been uploaded to that portal. I do about a video a day on average. So like, those aren't all Chisgule videos. Like, I think this was just in the last year the videos created, if I'm not mistaken. So, 365 of those would be me. But if you look at my total number of Rise of Kingdoms videos, I can pull that number up, I think, real quick-ish, maybe. It's somewhere between 2,500 to like 3,000 videos about Rise of Kingdoms. So I think my participation or my contribution is only, though, I think this is for the year. And so like 365 would be me. There's a lot of content creators, as it turns out. A lot of people making content. GG. All right. And by the way, if you didn't use this gift code, it's a good one. Like, I like that the developers in this last year have started moving in the direction of gift codes worth the time to actually enter. ROK here, that's YR, recap. Okay, so ROKYRRECAP is going to give you 500 gems. Be sure to go in and enter that for all your accounts. And if you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing, throw a like on the vid. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. It's been a really incredible 6 years playing Rise of Kingdoms. I can't believe we're this far along. But if you want to see what some of my first videos look like, yo, check these videos here and here. It's actually kind of crazy how ridiculous my early videos were. Like, you want to go down memory lane or just see how different the game was? Watch these videos. The card's right over here.